Previously, our main character meets an unfortunate end, caught in a tragic accident during the exciting finale of the famous Patissier World Tournament. A kind goddess, sensing his deep regret, recognizes his sincere desire and arranges for him to be reborn in a different world as a boy named Pastry, the son of a noble lord. With this second chance, our hero sets out on a brave journey, aiming to use his exceptional baking skills to create a land of delightful sweets that will bring smiles to everyone's faces. Now the story continues. After the battle, the field is scattered with discarded weapons and broken barricades. A villager approaches Pastry's mother with good news: they have captured some bandits. Worried about her husband and son, she asks about their safety. Her husband assures her that Casserole is fine, but Pastry got hurt in the arm. Concerned, the mother falls to the ground, but her daughter comforts her, saying it's just a minor scratch, which the villager confirms. Although relieved, Pastry's sister wonders where their father and brother are, knowing their mother tends to worry. Meanwhile, Pastry points out the extra food supplies for the smaller settlements, as they handle the logistics. The rest of the villagers escort the bandits to a temporary prison. Thalia is curious about what Casserole plans to do with the captured criminals. She suggests shipping them to the county of Reese as the best option, allowing the leadership in Regis to take credit and save face. The head retainer also wonders about the rewards they can expect in return for their service. Casserole acknowledges the need to evaluate the situation but insists on at least receiving compensation for campaign expenses and the losses suffered while protecting the other two villages. With the bandits safely detained, Casserole organizes a ceremony to honor the villagers' bravery. Marcarolo and Luminito are called forward and given swords and bags of barley as a token of appreciation for their exceptional assistance to Pastry throughout the ordeal. Marcarello feels a bit shy about the praise since he's more accustomed to being scolded for his behavior. Pastry eagerly helps his friends carry their rewards, taking them to Marcarello's home. His mother is overjoyed to see her son safe, and his younger siblings are impressed by his achievements. She hopes Marcarello didn't cause unnecessary trouble for Pastry, but he remarks on how bravely they all fought and how vital his friends will be for Morton's future. Next, they visit Luminito's home, where her grandfather beams with pride at her confidence despite her young age. The other villagers join in the celebration, bringing drinks and food. The festivities begin, and even the children participate, drinking milk to feel included. The adults repeatedly praise the children's ambush and how it turned the tide of the battle. Lost in thoughts of creating delicious sweets, Pastry decides to start with an apple pie, already planning the recipe in his mind. This gives Marcarello and Luminito a chance to slip away. Luminito admires her sword while Marcarello tries to impress her by asking about the bandits' motives. He receives an answer, learning that they are currently held in the main village shed. Intrigued, they plan to investigate, understanding their future roles as Pastry's retainers. However, the prison guards at the entrance refuse them entry, citing safety concerns for children. Marcarello signals Luminito to join him in the bushes nearby. With a clever plan involving throwing stones at a log storage behind the shed, they successfully divert the attention of the guards, creating an opportunity for them to enter. Carefully, they inspect the prisoners, but their confidence wavers when faced with the intimidating gaze of the bandit leader. Despite their attempt to show bravery, fear still lingers within them. The leader notices the sword Marcarello carries and asks about its origin. Marcarello explains that it was a reward, unaware that the sword once belonged to the bandit leader himself. The leader, accepting his fate, expresses a desire to teach Marcarello swordsmanship and even magic. Intrigued by the idea of becoming like Pastry and possessing magical abilities, Marcarello is captivated. However, Luminito senses something wrong and advises Marcarello against listening. Unfortunately, Marcarello has already been enchanted by the leader's words and falls into the trap, disarming himself when drawn closer. Exploiting this moment, the bandit leader frees himself and attacks Luminito, causing a wound on her torso. By the time the guards return, the leader has taken Marcarello hostage, while Luminito remains unconscious on the ground. A concerned villager witnesses the distressing scene and quickly informs the others about the gravity of the situation. At the shed, the bandit leader finds himself surrounded by more villagers. However, he cleverly uses Marcarello as a shield to secure a horse and escape, leaving his comrades behind. Soon after, Pastry arrives and immediately attends to Luminito's injury. The guards inform Pastry that the bandit leader has fled with Marcarello. Determined to pursue them, Pastry hopes that the traps they set along the escape route are still in place. He plans his attack, intending to retaliate and redirect any harm he receives back onto the criminal. In the worst-case scenario, he aims to force a stalemate. Suddenly, a realization dawns on Pastry regarding his ability to replicate what he witnesses, prompting him to consider its further application. Back in the village, news of the incident reaches Casserole and Thalia, who express disappointment in the guards' failure to apprehend the boy. Casserole instructs the head retainer to accompany him in intercepting the bandit leader before he reaches potential allies for regrouping. Fully suggests that Casserole goes alone to allow him to prepare and maintain morale within the village. Meanwhile, the bandit leader's progress is impeded as he falls into one of the traps set by the villagers. This fortunate turn of events allows Pastry to catch up. The leader recognizes Pastry and assumes he is responsible for the trap. Surprising the bandit, Pastry draws his sword, leading to a duel between them. Pastry initiates an attack, but the criminal withstands it, acknowledging Pastry's impressive skills despite his young age. However, the bandit's superior physical strength sends Pastry flying backward. Undeterred, Pastry regains his composure and continues his assault, determined to eliminate Pastry with a single decisive blow to prevent him from replicating injuries. The bandit leader forcefully pushes Pastry back. Witnessing this, Marcarello pleads with Pastry to flee, believing that his own life is not worth risking. However, Pastry firmly refuses, reminding Marcarello of their strong bond as lieutenant and leader. Sarcastically remarking on their friendship, the bandit leader launches a powerful attack. Pastry manages to block it, but his blade shatters, leaving him vulnerable to a subsequent strike. Without hesitation, the bandit leader seizes the opportunity to deliver a blow. Meanwhile, Fi uses his scouting magic to search for Pastry and Marcarello but finds no sign of them. Growing increasingly anxious, he shouts in the hopes of receiving a response. Eventually, he discovers horse tracks, indicating that they are getting closer. A look of dread washes over Fi as he spots Pastry's broken sword. They continue their search until dusk, yet find no trace of the missing boy. Fi returns with the shattered sword in hand, contemplating how to deliver the heartbreaking news to Casserole. The leader of the guards opens the door and is surprised to see Pastry unharmed, resting peacefully in his mother's arms. Casserole informs the leader that Pastry returned with Marcarello not too long ago. Pastry's mother refuses to let go of him and has fallen asleep while holding her son. Although Casserole is puzzled about how they passed by without notice, he asks Pastry to explain. At first, Pastry avoids giving details, but when pressed, he admits that he replicated his father's teleportation magic on himself to escape the bandit's fatal blow. Pastry explains that his magic allows him to copy anything, including other people's magic spells, onto another object. Confirming Casserole's suspicions, Pastry's revelation leads his father to forbid him from revealing his ability to others and establishes a rule against using other people's magic in front of anyone. Casserole scolds Pastry, cautioning him about the dangers of using unfamiliar spells. Pastry had anticipated this reaction, which is why he was hesitant to share his secret. Later that night, Casserole and Fi discuss the potential consequences if news of Pastry's unique power spreads. They worry that some people might try to exploit him as a weapon and regret not capturing the bandit leader earlier. Casserole hopes that the bandit leader will be dealt with before he has a chance to expose Pastry's secret. The next day, Pastry joins Marcarello in preparing marinades and is reprimanded for causing Luminito's injuries. Pastry assures Marcarello that Luminito will recover and suggests they visit her to apologize. When they arrive, Luminito is in good spirits and happy to see her friends. Pastry excuses himself to the kitchen to bake an apple pie, while Marcarello offers a formal apology to Luminito. The enticing aroma catches their attention, and soon Pastry returns with the freshly baked pie. They are amazed by its appearance and comment on how delicious it looks. Pastry explains that he made the pie to uplift Luminito's spirits. Excitedly, they taste the pie and are delighted by its incredible flavor. Pastry also shares some fresh apples soaked in honey, educating them about the different apple varieties and their tastes. Pastry advises Marcarello to learn from his mistake and work hard to improve, assuring him that he will always find ways to use his unique skills. Their conversation is interrupted when Glossage enters the room, pretending to be angry about Marcarello causing harm to his daughter. However, Glossage quickly changes his tone and suggests that Marcarello can make amends by marrying his daughter. Luminito overhears and doesn't object, surprising Marcarello. Luminito then offers Glossage a slice of the pie, and he compliments its deliciousness. They all sit together, enjoying more pie, and these joyful moments reinforce Pastry's determination to create his land of sweets. This brings an end to our episode. If you enjoyed it, then don't forget to like, share, and subscribe our channel, Annie Explainer.